The first time anyone noticed her, it was because of how carefully she wiped the table. Not quickly, not lazily, but as if every movement mattered, as if the world might break if she rushed. The shy waitress with downcast eyes had no idea that one small, trembling act of kindness would set off a chain of events so powerful that it would leave a billionaire on his knees in tears and an entire room holding its breath. Before the story unfolds any further, take a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet souls who change the world without meaning to, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Her name was Lena, though most customers never bothered to learn it. She worked at a modest seaside café that smelled of salt, burnt coffee, and old memories. The kind of place people visited when they wanted to be alone with their thoughts. Lena had been there for 3 years, working double shifts, never calling in sick, never complaining. She spoke softly, walked carefully, and apologized even when things were not her fault. Life had taught her early that being invisible was safer than being seen. Lena had grown up in foster homes, moving from place to place like a forgotten suitcase. She learned sign language at 13 after being placed with a deaf foster sister who cried herself to sleep every night because no one understood her. Lena learned to listen with her eyes, to feel words instead of hearing them. When that foster home eventually dissolved too, the skill stayed with her, becoming the one thing she carried proudly in a life stripped of permanence. The day everything changed began like any other. The cafe was quiet, the sky heavy with clouds that hinted at rain. Lena noticed the elderly woman as soon as she entered, not because she looked rich or important, but because she looked lost. Her movements were slow, her eyes searching, her hands trembling slightly as she clutched her purse. The hostess spoke to her, but the woman did not respond. Customers sighed. Someone rolled their eyes. Lena felt that familiar tightening in her chest. She approached gently, her steps soft, her presence calm. Instead of repeating words louder like others had, Lena raised her hands and signed slowly, asking if the woman needed help. The elderly woman's eyes widened, filling instantly with tears. In that moment, Lena saw something she recognized deeply, relief at finally being understood. The woman was Margaret, though Lena would learn that much later. All Lena knew then was that Margaret was deaf, alone, and clearly overwhelmed. Lena guided her to a quiet corner table near the window, brought her water, and carefully signed the menu options. She took her time, ignoring the impatient glances from coworkers and customers. For the first time that day, Margaret smiled. What Lena did not know was that Margaret was the mother of Julian Cross, a man whose name dominated headlines and boardrooms. A billionaire known for ruthless business decisions, emotional distance, and a life so tightly controlled that there was no room for vulnerability. Julian rarely spoke about his mother. After his father's death, he had placed Margaret in a luxurious assisted living facility, believing money could replace presence. He visited infrequently, convincing himself that providing comfort was enough. Margaret had wandered out that morning, confused and yearning for something familiar. The facility staff panicked, but before anyone could stop her, she was gone. When Julian received the call, his world froze. He abandoned a critical meeting and began searching the city with a desperation he had not felt since childhood. Meanwhile, Lena continued serving Margaret, signing stories about the ocean outside, about the pastries she liked best, about nothing and everything. Margaret signed back slowly, sharing fragments of memories, of a son who was always busy, of loneliness hidden behind luxury. Lena listened without judgment, her heart aching in quiet understanding. The moment Julian burst into the cafe, the atmosphere shifted. His presence was commanding, sharp, and tense. Conversations hushed. Staff straightened. He scanned the room frantically until his eyes landed on the corner table. There sat his mother, calm, smiling, her hands moving gracefully as she communicated with the waitress kneeling beside her. Julian stopped breathing. He had never seen his mother look like that outside childhood photographs. Relaxed, seen, alive. The waitress noticed him immediately, her expression tightening with fear. She stood quickly, bowing her head, signing an apology instinctively as if she had done something wrong. But Julian was not looking at her with anger. His face crumbled. The walls he had spent decades building cracked wide open. He rushed forward, dropping to his knees beside his mother, signing clumsily, desperately, asking if she was hurt, if she was afraid, if she was okay. Margaret touched his face gently and signed something back. Something that made Julian's shoulders shake. She told him she had been understood today. Truly understood. And that it had been because of the girl with kind eyes and patient hands. The entire cafe watched in stunned silence as the most powerful man in the room cried openly, holding his mother like a child afraid of losing her. Tears streamed down his face not from fear, but from shame. Shame that a stranger had given his mother something he never had. Julian stood slowly and turned to Lena. She was shaking, ready to be scolded, maybe even fired. Instead, he bowed his head to her. The room gasped. He signed clumsily, thanking her, his hands unsure but sincere. He told her she had done what money never could. He told her she had given his mother dignity. Lena cried silently, nodding, unsure how to respond. She had only done what felt right. In the weeks that followed, Julian could not forget her. Not because she was special in some dramatic way, but because she reminded him of everything he had lost chasing success. He arranged to meet her again, not as a billionaire, but as a son trying to learn. He asked her to teach him sign language. He asked her about her life. And for the first time, he listened. Lena struggled with the attention. She had spent her life avoiding notice, and now she was being pulled into a world she did not understand. She doubted herself constantly, feeling small beside Julian's world of glass towers and private jets. But Julian never rushed her. He moved at her pace, learning patience from the very person who had taught it to him through his mother. Margaret flourished. She moved in with Julian, not because of luxury, but because he finally made time. Their home filled with laughter expressed through hands and eyes instead of sound. Lena visited often, becoming part of a family she never thought she would have. Julian funded programs for deaf education, but more importantly, he showed up. He learned. He changed. Lena eventually left the cafe, not to chase wealth, but to work with children who felt unseen, just as she once had. Her life remained humble, but it was full. Before this story ends, please pause for a moment and comment below. Write one word that describes how this story made you feel. Your words matter more than you know. Years later, at a small community event celebrating accessibility and inclusion, Julian stood quietly at the back, watching Lena sign a story to a room full of children. His mother sat beside him, her hand resting on his arm. The shy waitress was no longer invisible. She was a bridge, a reminder, proof that the smallest kindness could rewrite destinies. If this story touched your heart, if it made you believe again in compassion, understanding, and the quiet power of empathy, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps spread stories that remind us who we are meant to be. And somewhere, in a cafe by the sea, a table still waits, wiped carefully, as if the world depends on it.